Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
I've been going out with a girl. Her name is Julie. But last night she said to me...
Paul's in Elstree. Paul, what would you like to say?
James, you disgust me. You really do.
You can add to that, Paul.
Ranting.
Yes, carry on.
Your vile ranting. You know, for someone who claims to be educated like you say you do, you don't even understand the textbook definition of fascism. And then trying to equate the great Donald Trump with National Socialism in the 30s. I mean, are you on drugs today or something? Because you're not making any sense, are you?
I would not to you, clearly, but I'm not prepared to take full responsibility for that at this stage. What is it you like about him, Paul?
You need to go sit in a darkened room and have a word with yourself, James.
Yes.
Donald Trump is the man that's going to save America.
From what?
From $18 billion of debt.
Just your phone line's gone a bit soft, Paul. If you could just put the mouthpiece nearer to your mouth.
Donald Trump
There we
will
go.
save America.
Yes.
From $18 billion of debt. Mired by the most useless president in the history of the world, Barack Obama. Absolutely useless.
Okay. Can we do some detail?
Yeah, let's do some detail.
Cool.
$18 billion.
No, that's repetition.
There's detail for you.
How's he going to fix that?
How's he going to fix that?
There's an echo in the studio.
James, a very successful businessman. You see, can you start
How many times has he gone bankrupt? You've got to move your phone again. If you put the mouthpiece near your lips and the earpiece near your ear, it'll be a lot easier for both of us. How many times has he gone bankrupt, Paul?
Why don't you put your brain into gear?
No, you've got the phone upside down again, Paul. Turn it round the other way. That's it. Well done. How many times has he been bankrupt?
How is Donald Trump a fascist?
I'm asking you questions now.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay, how is he a fascist? He wants to punish people who haven't done anything wrong.
That's got nothing to do with...
Pardon?
You don't understand the definition of fascism, do you?
I understand the definition of fascism, Paul, but I also understand that you told me Donald Trump is a brilliant businessman who's going to wipe out $18 billion of debt. I've asked you how, and your answer is he's a brilliant businessman. I'm just politely asking for a little bit more detail.
Detail?
There's another echo.
What? Well, no, James.
How's he going to do that?
You might think you are.
How's he going to do that?
He's got connections. He's going to network. No, you're not funny, James. You're not funny.
No, you are.
If you think Barack Obama's a good president, you really need help.
How's he going to wipe out $18 billion of debt? And
well, how
you
has
just
$18
said to me
billion
that he's
of
got
debt created in the
connections.
first place,
What connections has he got, Paul?
How is $18 billion of debt created in the first place?
When you have a show, I'll ring you and answer your questions, okay? You've rung me to tell me Donald Trump, I'm missing the point, is brilliant. He's going to wipe out $18 billion of debt because he's got connections. What connections?
James, you think it's funny?
I think the figure you're looking for is 19 trillion, actually, for American debt at the moment. But I just want more
18 trillion, yeah. Well, 18... Well...
Trillion is more than a billion, but hey, it's probably my ignorance coming to the fore again.
Well, you are very...
What are his connections? What are his connections?
He can network. He
Who
can
with?
Maneuver.
Who with?
Sorry?
Who with?
Well, he won't be wasting the FBI time sending them down to investigate parochial shootings that the local police can deal with.
So he's going to save $19 trillion by redeploying local police and networking.
Donald Trump is the man to save America.
We've just examined the phenomenon of saying things and then not having anything to back it up. I thought you were ringing in to disprove that theory. I already have, and now we're talking about how he's going to save $19 trillion. He's a fascist because he wants to indulge in identity politics. He wants people to have more rights according to their ethnicity and their background, and he wants to punish innocent people for the actions of a minority from a similar background. But I'm interested in the connections and the networking that he's going to employ to save $19 trillion. Just talk me through them a bit more, Paul.
No, I'm interested in how you connected Donald Trump with fascism.
Right, go. Okay. I've explained.
Can I say one last thing, James?
Yes, as long as it's an answer to the question of how his networking and connections are going to save the country $19 trillion.
Three final things I've got to say.
No, mate, you have to answer the question at one point.
No, two things, James.
Well, there was three a minute ago.
And God bless America.
Yeah, you're not. You're teasing me, aren't you, Paul?
No, I'm not teasing you, James.
You're not real.
Yes, I am real.
Oh my God.
A Zionist president of America is what we need.
There we go. 11:30 is the time. If you build it, They will come. If it wasn't so sad, I'd have just had the biggest laugh of my life. That's a fairly reliable distillation of most of the communication coming into the studio during the course of the news. But as an earlier caller said, when you hear people like Paul, the previous caller, who said that Donald Trump is going to wipe out $19 trillion of debt using his connections, you can't laugh, because that's what Donald Trump has told them. That's what he's told them. He stood up in front of these people and said he's going to make America great again. He's going to he actually said he's going to get rid of all violence. He's going to abolish violence. And because we now live in a world where you're not allowed to ask the second question, because that would curtail freedom of speech, people... There's a menu that Donald Trump can follow to bring about all the things he's promised the Republican convention in Cleveland that he'll do. And it's a menu currently being written by President Erdogan in Turkey. Suspension of the European Convention on Human Rights, locking up academics, locking up judges, chucking people out of jobs, teachers, all of them going. And that's what it looks like. That's called Islamist oppression. In America, it's called making America great again. Whoa. Ben's in Watford. Ben, what would you like to say?
Well, I think you've got a lot of unfair criticism of Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter. Let me start by saying that. I'm a committed fence sitter at best. And so when I go into the election in November, I'm going to be choosing what I consider to be the lesser of two evils. But with regard to, you had a caller back who compared him to Hitler, and that's really inappropriate and offensive, I think, to anybody who... you talk about Hitler purposefully murdered more than 6 million Jews. And
no. The comparison was with Hitler's rise to power. I completely accept your observation, but the comparison was with Hitler's rise to power, which was achieved democratically upon a tidal wave of very, very deliberately manipulated hatred and a very, very specific insistence that he would make Germany great again. Does that ring any bells?
Well, let's talk about then deliberate hatred. I think Trump's argument that Obama has divided the country is actually a very valid argument. There's a much, much higher profile instance of racism in the U.S. today than there was just 8 years ago.
Well, it began on the day Obama was elected. I remember the outrage, the howls from Middle America about the fact that a black man had the audacity to go into the White House. I don't know that you can blame Barack Obama for being black, can you?
I'm not blaming Barack Obama for being black. It's interesting how you try to spin that argument. I'm blaming Barack Obama for dividing the country.
How did he do that?
For incidents such as, well, let's start with going back to Ferguson, Missouri. That's probably one of the most blatant examples of it, where after the police shot what was pretty much a thug, Michael Brown was a thug. He's no better than, what was the guy's name here in Tottenham, Duggan, who was a criminal. And it led to rioting. And what did the president do? Did he actually land on the side of the police? No. He stood behind and made it an issue. He made it a color issue, the same way that it became an issue in Florida.
Who do you think did more to blow that story up, Barack Obama or Fox News?
Barack Obama and the people around him. It wasn't Fox News. Fox News didn't create a race issue in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. You tell me how Fox News did it. Explain exactly how Fox News did it. And it wasn't CNN, it wasn't ABC, it wasn't NBC, it wasn't CBS.
Because when news was objective and when news was reported straight, nobody in America could have watched those reports and concluded that it was in some way a sign of racism on the part of the president. People like Rush Limbaugh have sowed that seed. People like Roger Ailes have sowed that seed. People like Rupert Murdoch have sowed that seed because they understand what Trump understands, and I suspect you don't. When you whip up this kind of hatred, you get to surrender rationality. You get to leave logic at the door. And when you leave logic at the door, you can get people to do whatever you want.
Michael Brown was the bad guy in this case. And please, America, let's not turn this kid into some kind of civil rights martyr, because that he is not.
People forget he had committed a robbery.
Pitting whites against blacks.
I think the racial arsonists in this country have worked these people up so much with propaganda that facts don't matter.
It's not a black-white situation. It's a thug police officer situation.
This is not a civil rights issue.
You look at Ferguson, they had a community that really worked, or it seemed to have worked, and now all this hatred's coming out. You have so many other people inciting and trying to get their own 2 cents in, and they're trying to incite problems.
Ferguson, Missouri is not Selma, Alabama.
Of course, if Fox had been around for Selma, Alabama, the headline would probably have been, "Relax, Selma isn't slavery."
You're right, and that's let's talk about Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, all the people.
See, you're just telling me about awful black people, Ben, and then you're complaining that America is more racist than ever before. Do you not think you're the reason? All these awful black people you're telling me about, these thugs and these reverends and these political activists, what do they all have in common?
You tell me.
They're all black, Ben.
Oh, okay. So
and you've rung in to complain about racism.
No, I am telling you that because the president chose a position that was not in support of the police, it was rather in support of...
You saw the care worker who was shot yesterday, did you, while he was looking after the autistic man in the street?
We have to report that footage has emerged from Florida showing an unarmed black care worker being shot in the leg by police in Miami in broad daylight. Charles Kinsey was trying to coax a young autistic man out of the middle of the road. You can see him here with his hands up, asking police not to shoot, and at the same time trying to calm the man sitting down in front of him. Seconds later, he's shot from just 30 feet away by a Miami police officer. Kinsey's in hospital tonight, recovering from a gunshot wound to the leg, while the policeman who shot him has been put on administrative leave.
Absolutely, there's nobody who's going to defend that. No one whatsoever.
Well, what if Barack Obama maybe comes down on the side of the care worker? Would that make him racist? Because he wouldn't be taking the police's side, Ben.
You know, you have an interesting way of trying to change the argument to favor...
No, I have an interesting habit of holding a mirror up to people and then laughing when they hate what they see.
Let's hold a mirror up to you, because it seems
Go on, then.
you are trying to...
Hello, handsome.
Excuse me?
I said, oh, hello, handsome.
All right, so we're going to have a serious debate. You'd rather...
I am having a serious debate. You've rung me up to tell me racism is awful, and then you've listed lots of black people that you don't like.
No.
And then you said that Barack Obama is responsible for spreading racism because he didn't defend the police. I gave you an incident of yet again in America where a black man has been shot by the police, and you said, well, nobody could defend those police. Hey, make your mind up. Do you side with the police when they shoot black people, or don't you?
You're having a real good time there. You're if you want to debate fairly and openly and honestly, let's do it. Let's not go off on your tangent.
I am. When the police shoot a black person, why does the president always have to side with the police?
They don't. He does not. He absolutely does not. But it took until 3 policemen were murdered in Dallas for the president to finally say something that was even remotely supportive of the police department and of law and order.
No, it didn't. Barack Obama has been speaking since he got elected about the importance of the police department. You chose the example of Ferguson because you thought it would allow you to suggest that Barack Obama was defending a criminal who happened to be black against police officers who happened to be white. I gave you lots and lots of examples of police officers shooting black people in circumstances that are utterly indefensible, but you're not hearing it, which is fine. But it's not my job to pull your fingers out your ears.
Apparently, it's not my job to pull. I'm not going to be able to pull your fingers out of your ears, and that's okay. You know what? If you were honestly going to have a debate about it, you wouldn't sit here and try and...
We've had a debate, Ben. We've had a debate. You've lost it. You haven't noticed.
Right. No. Obviously, you seem to think I've lost it. Perhaps maybe we should have a poll with all of your listeners and see how many people chime in on the side of...
Yeah, that'd be great. I tell you what, you tell them how you're going to make America great again, and we'll see how many of them cheer.
So you're saying to me, because obviously that comes from the fact that you have an issue with Trump...
Why are you talking about me so much?
Can you settle down and let me speak? Can we have a discussion without you interrupting?
Well, you're interrupting me all the time.
No, absolutely not. I gave you your chance.
You gave me my chance. Why, thank you, sir.
You know, you have a very interesting style that I'm sure your listeners are thinking it's entertaining, but it's intellectually dishonest.
Ben, two things. Two things. You are a listener. You are a listener, and you only get this many bites of the cherry, my friend.
Okay, and fine. That's fine. You'll have lost this listener. You'll have lost others because of your intellectual dishonesty and your unwillingness to actually debate openly and honestly about the discussion.
You're absolutely right. I'm an apologist. I'm avoiding the argument. I'm taking your examples and referencing them and explaining them and understanding them and telling you why they're wrong.
A single one of them.
I haven't. No, I know. No, you're right. I've done nothing. I've done nothing, Ben.
You have not explained them. You haven't.
I know. I haven't. I've done nothing.
That's good. You know what? Why don't we talk about the since you were very focused earlier with that caller about the debt, the national debt. Let's talk about the national debt.
Why are you changing the subject? I was enjoying the conversation about racism and all those horrible black people you mentioned.
I never said horrible black people, but that's fine. You carry on.
Well, what did all the people that you were holding up as examples of wrongness in America have in common again? Remind me, because I told you last time.
I didn't hold them up as examples of wrongness in America. When did I say there were examples?
Oh, excuse me. So you just happened to mention all these people that you had a problem with, and they all happened to be black, and you weren't in any way suggesting that they were problematical or relevant to the claim that Barack Obama had made America more racist. The president has made America more racist. Here's a loads of black people who back up my position, but I'm in no way suggesting that there's a problem here. Ben, have a great day, mate. I think actually I could probably live without you.